अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। नहमदु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम, अम्मा बाद, फ़ाऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। रब्बिश शरह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली। I'm a medical doctor by profession and at the same time also a Quran teacher, and I have been interacting with parents as well as youngsters for many years, over 25 years. And in this time frame, I have noticed a gradual shift. Like we always talk about kids listening to their parents, and kids, according to the Quranic principle, having an interaction with their parents at the level of ihsan. But now the shift is where initially I noticed there were more disparities between the parents and the youngsters, no wavelength matching. Parents and kids are basically talking alien languages. They're not able to understand each other. And as the gap increased, I realized we have come across, I would say, generation of parents who do not understand or not able to have a true emotional relationship with their kids. Like apparently they are giving their kids everything. The kids would be going to the best of institutions. The kids would be studying hard. Kids would be having the latest phone. Kids would be like doing what all normal kids do, because once you start talking to anyone around, you want to explain to them that I have this problem when I want to connect to my mom, especially. There is a lot of gaslighting, or I'm not able to actually make her understand what are my needs. And people would, or experts who are sitting there, they would listen to you and they would be like, "Sab kuch to tumhare paas hai." You get this impression they think of you as if you are the most ungrateful daughter on the face of the earth. And we don't know how to respond to that. So I thought this is one topic which is somehow going unaddressed. And I feel that new generation needs to have a better understanding of it, especially when we also understand deen. Like every time you come across a verse related to the parent, every time you come across a narration of the Prophet ﷺ related to the parent, you're so confused. You're like, yes, I know I should be doing that, but my mind blows away. And I don't know how to respond to some cold behaviors that I get. Obviously, I wouldn't ask each one of you to think how relatable it is to your life, but I would definitely want to get some feedback on this, whatever I have just shared with you. Do you see this scenario around? Do you think it is relatable? Yes or no? Yes? It could be your friends. It could be small situations or big situation. So let us try to understand what are we supposed to do. Like we have this verse, Surah Al-Isra, in front of us. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And your Lord has decreed that you worship none except Him, and to the parents good treatment. So immediately after the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the right of the parent. So much so we have been told, إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Whether one or both of them reach old age, while with you, say not to them so much as uff, and do not repel them, but speak to them in a noble word. Like as they're growing old, and now the generation gap is increasing, so do not even show a certain body language to them. Uff is like, oh, my mom's English, or my mom's pronunciation, my mom's stress up. Oh God, why did my mom had to mention this in front of ladies sitting, aunties sitting, those weird aunties who are looking at me from top to bottom? Why did she have to say that? That's like uff. So do not even utter that uff or amma aap smartphone rakhti kyun hai when you don't know how to use it. Every time I have to tell you which button to press. Like जिस मर्जी को आपने इंस्टा पे ऐड किया हुआ है, you don't even know कि ये कौन लोग हैं. typically moms will even ask you, मेरे इंस्टा पे, मेरे फेसबुक पे ये खबर आई है, तुम्हारे पे भी आई है? They will ask, such weird questions because they are not able to understand. So the oof level, we have been told not to do that. That means we need a lot of taming. But as I told you, we are not dealing with a generation of parents who are so lovable, so well connected. Yes, you have very few minor challenges where you need to be sort of working on the relationship. No, you have a very, very difficult scenario in front of you. And again, as I said, you don't know how to deal with that. We have less time, and in that, I'm trying to accommodate as much material as I can. The first thing that we have to understand is the emotional need. When we have an emotional need, and I wouldn't say when we all have emotional need. And when that emotional need is not being fulfilled, it turns out to be an extremely lonely experience. And for that, I would want you to look at the difference between two personalities. Someone who has emotional intimacy, a good, strong emotional relationship, and someone where there is no intimacy. When there is intimacy, you have someone to go to with your feelings. You feel very safe with that person. You have a good sense of self. You have self-awareness. You are comfortable. You feel when I utter something, the other person is able to connect. And there is a lot of safety. It's fine to talk about emotional issues as well. Like you could tell someone, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling lonely, I'm feeling upset about something, I'm so happy and excited. That is emotional intimacy. It is becoming very alien. And the second is the loneliness, emotional loneliness. If you look at emotional loneliness, what does it show? The parents are not noticing their children's inner experiences. There is discount for the feelings. You fear emotional intimacy. You fear talking to your parent about anything which is emotional. In fact, I have come across a generation of parents and children, whether it's a kid, youngster, or it's a parent, and I'm talking to them and I'm like, did you ever hug your mom or dad? Did you ever hug your kid? And they give me this weird expression. I don't think so I can. It's not possible for me. It's a very difficult game. You're very uncomfortable with your own emotional needs. You have no idea how to support the other person when they feel emotionally dependent. You shut down on any urge to reach out. And child will not understand what is wrong. There is a lot of emptiness inside. So if any one of you is going through this experience, you have to tell yourself, I'm absolutely normal. There is a gap. And I just need to understand the gap, and I need to understand how to fill up that gap. I mean, a lot of kids in this time, when they have this emotional loneliness, they go into self-harm. They have a lot of depression. They have anxiety. And at the very same time, they go through very tough mental health challenge. Many kids even have tried this suicide, or there is a lot of suicidal ideation. So this is how a lot of kids cope. They learn to put other people's needs first. They're convincing everyone that they have very few emotional needs. They create even more loneliness this way. Meri khair hai? Let me take care of others. This is a big concern from mothers, and it's also a big concern for me as a life coach. A lot of young girls who are going through these challenges, they are trying to help their friends deal with emotional challenges. You cannot. You can refer them to someone, but you cannot say, oh, I can very easily relate to what you're going through, so let me see what I can do for you. But you don't have any recharging capacity yourself. First of all, you have to learn to heal. Where are your challenges? They are very eager to leave their childhood behind, and they mature a lot earlier. And the best solution for them is, I need to get self-sufficient. A lot of youngsters, they do understand what is my limitation within the Islamic boundary as a female or as a male. But again, because of this gap, they feel, let me get out of this house. Or I just want to finish my education, I want to get a job, and I want to get out of this house. This is such a suffocating environment for me. And I keep telling them, look, this is not going to solve your problems, because if your emotional need is not fulfilled, you will keep coming back for that need and at the same time feel more lonely. And they are competent beyond what they should be doing for their age. The problem is when they leave the home virtually or physically, they end up in wrong relationships. A lot of these girls, they then end up saying, Meri kismat kharab hai. First it was my parents, then something else happened, then my job, then my whatever relationship I have, they are also very bad ones. They tolerate exploitation because they have not learned how to smoothly sail with their emotions. So इनको ये भी बहुत problem होती है. And they stay in jobs longer than where they should be because they cannot emotionally see where the problem is. And they settle for emotional loneliness in their relationship because for them it has always been normal. They don't realize or recognize what are the parental limitations. They feel trapped taking care of the parents, and they don't trust their instincts, and they lack confidence due to parental rejection. Some of the kids have many of these, some have some of these. Knowing this doesn't mean that we start blaming our parents. Knowing this should make us feel, God, I'm so normal. In my environment, if I'm going through this, I'm a normal kid. Okay, now the problem has been diagnosed. Now I need to understand what to do about it.
To ask that the emotional need to होती है, can it be fulfilled by any other relationship? Will it just always stay there? अगर parents don't fulfill it, will it stay?
This is a very important question. Do I still need my parent if the parent is not emotionally capable of giving me, fulfilling that need? यही इसी पे हम end पे आएंगे. ठीक है? So keep that question with you till I explain few more concepts. A man asked Prophet ﷺ, what rights can parents demand from their children? And he responded, they are your paradise and your hell. अब parents के साथ disconnect नहीं हो सकते. You cannot take a decision like saying, ठीक है, I'll pack up, I'll leave and never see them again. Because हम lonely बहुत होते हैं ना, it's a very lonely experience. So we don't know how to deal with that loneliness, तो फिर हम ये decisions ले रहे होते हैं. तो side by side हमें understand करना है कि इसका solution वो नहीं है, whatever the waswas of shaitan are coming to be. Second important aspect that we have to see is we have to recognize if my parent is emotionally immature. ये भी तो समझना है ना? It's not just a label. Again, we are living in those times of fitnas where talking about these labels is so easy. Whoever doesn't listen to me, understand me, is toxic, is a narcissist, is abusive. We don't even know the right definitions, appropriate definitions. We don't even understand our role. We don't even have a holistic picture. Yes, there are going to be some people who are going to be narcissists, toxic, emotionally immature, but not everyone is that. So without labels, it is very important not to label anyone. There shouldn't be a blame game going towards the parents. We have to have a deeper understanding. When I was young, your age, at a certain level, I would also question my sanity and also at the same time talk to my parents and question whatever behaviors they are giving. But ultimately, with passage of time, when I grew up, when I had my own kids, I understood situations much differently. कि ऐसे नहीं होता जो मैं समझती हूँ, जो मैं सोच रही हूँ. Because जब हम छोटे होते हैं, young होते हैं, we think we are very mature, but we have a pretty tunneled vision. हम उसी टनल से देख रहे होते हैं, उसी लेंस से देख रहे होते हैं. तो इसको थोड़ा सा हमने ब्रॉडन करना है. Like someone with a rigid and single mindset. Once they form an opinion, close for discussion. मैंने तुम्हें बता दिया है, तुमने यही पढ़ना है, यही शादी करनी है, यही रहना है, ये पहनना है, ये खाना है, period, closed. That means there is an emotional problem. लेकिन आपके पेरेंट्स सुन रहे हैं, sometimes they agree with you, but for something they don't agree with you. I do come across youngsters who would say to me, my parents are so bad. I'm like, अच्छा क्या कहते हैं? Offering you drugs? They're like, no, astaghfirullah, they don't offer me drugs. Telling you to go out with a boyfriend? Of course not. They don't want you to sleep at night. They want you to be up the whole night, slumber parties. क्या कहते हैं? Now the girl would be embarrassed and say, they want me to study, they want me to eat healthy, they want me to dress up modestly. So I'm like, is it a wrong parameter? It's a principal parameter that your parents are telling you. So there could be discussion, and end of the discussion, the parent has the veto power, telling you, I'm so sorry, you can't do it. That would be normal. But if they're so rigid, they say, आइंदा इस पे बात भी नहीं होगी. No discussion on this. Then there is a problem. Then they are subjective, not objective. Facts, logic, history, all fall on deaf ears. It's all about you. तुम ये करती हो, तुम ऐसी हो, तुमने ये नहीं किया, तुमने वो नहीं किया. It's not an objective thing that they're talking about. You know your cousin or a girl in your own halakha, so and so, you know, she's hanging out with so many guys, but when she comes to the class, she acts up modest. So your mom is always giving her example, and you know in your heart what she's up to. But you can't even obviously tell her. Then self-preoccupation. Fundamentals and doubts about their core self, all roads lead back to them. It is always about them. It is always about pleasing them. It's always about taking care of their needs. तुम्हें मेरी परवाह नहीं है. Then there is low stress tolerance. Their coping mechanism is very bad. So they cannot take the stress. I came across this family where there was a very disastrous situation at home, and the parents were not emotionally available, and when the situation happened, the kids had to manage it, and it has impacted them a lot. They're egocentric. They keep defenses high as fear of being exposed as bad, inadequate, or unlovable. I know this young girl. Her parents are like that. They fall into this category. She was having a lot of emotional challenges. She talked to her parents and she said to them that I need help. I need to go to some counselor or coach for some therapies. And the parents refused because there is so much shame. They're like, you don't need help. You just need to work on yourself. खुद ही पढ़ो, खुद ही करो, पढ़ी लिखी हो, Google करो, पढ़ो और कुछ करो. When once she was having this suicidal ideation, she actually pulled out something and in front of her parents, and she said, I'm going to kill myself. The only thing the parents said was, ठीक है, if you want to decide that, you will burn in hellfire. And remember that hadith. And I had my jaw dropping at that moment. I'm like, astaghfirullah, why did she say that? That's not how you handle a situation like that. So, yes, this is one mom who would be like, ठीक है, जाओ फिर, जो करना है करो. They like being center of attraction. They want to dominate the group. They take up their time because andar se they are very lonely. And on top of it, they have to pose in front of everyone that, you know, there is a certain aura about us, about our family. हम कितने अच्छे हैं और हम कितने अच्छे काम करते हैं और हम क्योंकि apparently, but the kids are studying in best of the institutions. They have a nice lifestyle. वो चाहते हैं कि बस वही persona उनका जो है वो सबके सामने रहे. Then there is role reversal. They're expecting attentiveness and comfort from their child rather than giving that comfort to the child. Yani, if you are feeling lonely, learn to deal with your loneliness yourself. But if your parent has a lonely moment, then you have to go and take care of them. You don't throw so many tantrums as your parent does. Or the kid is expected to take care of those tantrums. There is low empathy. उनको आपके problems नहीं नजर आ सकते. Inconsistent and contradictory remarks are there. You get so confused. There could be moments where the parent would hug, take care, be nice, and then suddenly there is flip because there is no emotional stability. And then they will end up saying or doing something which is not appropriate. And then they develop strong defenses. They don't want anyone to find out anything what's happening within the home environment. The quality of thoughts are also very bad. There's difficulty in conceptual thinking with these parents. Most of it, if they are present, yes, that means that there is a challenge in the family. And how does the relationship feel like? Very lonely, very exhausting. You feel like something very essential is missing in the relationship. There is no communication. The interactions are totally shut off. There is anger, there is resentment, there is feeling of abandonment. There is this इमोशनल काइंड ऑफ रिस्पॉन्स. वो जैसे बच्चा होता है ना टेंट्रम थ्रो करता है तो पेरेंट टेंट्रम थ्रो कर रहा होता है. पेरेंट को हर वक्त कुछ ना कुछ चाहिए और दे रेजिस्ट रिपेयरिंग द रिलेशनशिप. अगर आप उनको कहते भी हैं लेट्स गो एंड टॉक टू समवन, दे से कुछ भी नहीं, कोई मसला ही नहीं है, प्रॉब्लम इज विद यू. हम तो अपने अम्मा पापा के आगे बोलते नहीं थे, हम तो ये नहीं करते थे. They will start taking you back in those times. They may even lay the blame on some of your friends. तुम्हारी दोस्तें ऐसी हैं. You're hanging out with the wrong kind of crowd. Sometimes it does affect you, but अंदर की बात आपको समझनी है. Then they might play favorites. फलां बच्चा अच्छा है, inconsistent with time. बहुत सारे ये challenges आएंगे.